Copy 724, right, descend and maintain 2000.
Descend and maintain 2000, 724.
Comment 504, descend and maintain 3000. 3000, comment 504.
In this video, we're gonna be continue working on airspace. So we were talking about the class Bravo airspace. So how is class Bravo airspace depicted on the navigational charts? So their depiction is that first of all they are available on the sectional chart, IFR en route, low altitude, and terminal area charts, TAC. Okay, and the way they are depicted is solid shaded blue line. And if you see the numbers like 125, that just means that this is the top border, or basically that is the elevation where it starts, and this is the bottom, sorry, this is the base, and this is the I'm sorry, this is basically 100. If it is 100 and SFC, that just means that it starts on the surface and goes up to like you have to put 2 zeros in it, so basically it means goes up to 10,000 feet. Again, this is again starting from 2,500 to 10,000. Those are the indications, and again the color is a solid shaded blue line. Okay, what basic ATC services are provided to all aircraft operating within class Bravo airspace? So basically VFR pilots will be provided sequencing and separation from other aircraft. So they will tell you about sequencing and separation, meaning when you're gonna be landing and what's your number and everything, and the separation, especially for the like for all of them, but for also for the VFR flights. Okay, it becomes apparent that wake turbulence may be encountered while ATC is providing sequencing and separation services in class Bravo airspace. Whose responsibility is to avoid this turbulence? So even though the ATC is gonna be providing you the sequencing and separation, but in terms of the responsibility, the pilot in command is responsible for like avoiding the wake turbulences, and even the weather conditions. The pilot in command is going to be responsible for that. Okay, what is the maximum speed allowed when operating inside class Bravo airspace under 10,000 feet? So if you are in class Bravo airspace and you are under 10,000 feet, right? So what happens is, like, no person shall operate an aircraft below 10,000 feet MSL at an indicated airspeed of more than 250 knots. Whether you are a small single engine airplane or the unless otherwise suggested by the ATC, but this is the rule that no airplane should exceed 250 knots if you are flying under 10,000 feet in class Bravo airspace. Okay. When operating beneath the lateral limits of class Bravo airspace or in a VFR corridor designated through class Bravo airspace, what maximum speed is authorized? So if you are like, if you are in the airspace underlying a class Bravo airspace area designated for an airport, or in a VFR corridor designated through such class Bravo airspace area, the indicated airspeed should never exceed 200 knots. So if you are in the VFR corridors, right, and you are flying in the lateral limits of the class Bravo airspace, you should not exceed 200 knots. Yes. Okay. The next one is, what is class Charlie airspace? So now we're going to be start talking about the class Charlie airspace. So what is it is basically, again, you're going to be confirming it from the sectional charts or other charts, but basically it is the airspace from the surface, and it goes up to 4,000 feet. Okay, normally this is the normal scenario, surrounding those airports that have an operational control tower are serviced by a radar approach control, and they also have IFR operations too. They are not as busy as class Bravo airspace, but they are quite busy. Okay, what are the basic dimensions of a class Charlie airspace? Again, we're going to be, in terms of the dimensions, just remember that these are the normal ones, but you should definitely consult the sectional chart in order to make sure. So the airspace usually consists of 5 nautical mile radius core surface that extends. So if this is the central point, so first of all we have a 5 nautical mile radius surface that extends from the surface. So this one is from the surface SFC to 4,000 feet, right? 4,000 feet. And so if I try to show it in three-dimensional, this is starting from the surface to 4,000 feet. So this is the surface, and this is 4,000 feet. Then you have another one which is 10 nautical mile radius. This is 5 nautical mile radius, so we're still in the center. So another one is gonna be starting from a 10 nautical mile radius, right? 10 nautical mile radius, and normally starts at 1200 feet to 4,000 feet, the same one. So this is kind of what they call it is like an upside cake, a layered cakes, you can say. Again, it's like this, and then this, and like this. This is, for some reason I'm just drawing it inclined, but it is not inclined, it should be straight. So from surface to 4,000, 5 nautical miles, and then up to 10 nautical miles, starting from 1200 to 4,000. This is the airspace. This is the kind of the airspace we have for the class Charlie. Okay, what minimum pilot certification is required? So minimum pilot certification in this one is a student pilot certificate. If you have a student pilot certificate, you have done the solo, you have the student pilot certificate, you're good to go. Okay, what minimum equipment is required to operate an aircraft? So the minimum required equipment is again, basically they wanted to talk about the radios here. So you definitely need to have a two-way radio. You should also have an automatic pressure altitude reporting equipment with mode C capability. These are the equipment you just need in order to fly here. And the last thing I wanted to cover is like when operating an aircraft through class Charlie airspace or to an airport within class Charlie airspace, what basic requirement must be met. So you should, again, each person must establish two-way radio communications with the ADC facilities providing air traffic services prior to entering that airspace, and thereafter maintain those communications while within that airspace. So you definitely need to make a uh, two-way radio communication. So how is it different from class Bravo airspace? In class Bravo airspace, you should always look for clear to enter the class Bravo airspace. This is the communication you are trying to look for. Like you definitely need to be cleared in order to the ATC should call it out that you are clear to enter class Bravo airspace. Whereas in class Charlie airspace, you need to have a two-way communication established. They should call your tail, and at least they should you should call tell your intention and everything, and they should at least call your they should start talking to you. So that's the minimum requirement in order to enter the Charlie airspace. Those were the things I wanted to cover. Thanks for watching.